So the next thing that we're going to talk about in styling pages is, in fact, how to make margins, borders, and padding. Margin, borders, and padding are something that you've actually already seen just a little bit, in fact, with this table. Notice that I added borders to this table. Borders work in a specific way that you can actually read about on W3 Schools a little bit more, but a border is basically drawing a line around where the delineation is, or where the line is between a couple of objects on HTML. And so basically what I'm saying with this line right here is saying that, hey, here is the edge of my table, draw a line there, right? So I in fact ask the border to put a 1 pixel solid black border. This border here I can actually just change to red. So check it out. I can change it to red. I can change it to green. I can change it to blue. Just leave it at blue. And there's another couple ways that we can do that. I can make it actually thicker. I can say 4 pixels. Ooh, now it's nice and thick, but we'll just leave it at 1 pixel. I can do half a pixel like that, or I can do 5 pixels. I'm just going to leave it at 1 pixel. That looks good enough. But instead of solid, check this out. Over here on W3 Schools, it says that I can use dotted, dash, solid, double, groove. So I'm actually going to use a groove border. I wonder what that looks like. I've never used a groove border before. Doesn't look too different to me there. Maybe we can use a dotted one. Dotted border. Oh, check it out. Dotted border. Cool, huh? So this is me saying on the tables, on the THs, and on the TDs, on those tags, I want you to have a dotted border that is 1 pixel and that is 1 pixel long. So it's 1 pixel wide, it's dotted, and it's blue, right? I can actually create other borders on different things. So for example, let's say on the font side, on the P tags, I want a border that is 1 pixel, so the same as below. I want it to be solid, and I want it to be black. Let's see how that ends up working. Oh, check it out. Now around all of my P tags, there is this black border that goes along there. It doesn't really look all that good. So maybe let's try to say just around specific ones. And so how do I be specific? Well, I can go up here to where my P tags are and see, oh, there's a division right here. Maybe I want to make this division. I'm going to give it an ID and call it the first div. And then I come down here and I say, oh, I want my first. I'm going to call on my ID here by saying hashtag first div. And I'm going to make it the same that I said before. So now instead of like a big box around all of the P tags, I'm actually making a box around that entire border, right? Maybe I want to say that I want to have it on all of the divs, right? So I can just do this, div. And now around all of the divs, there's going to be a border. So I guess I only have 1 div here. But I guess I didn't. I had 2 divs, and now it's putting a weird border around this. See how it goes from one side to the other, how we talked about last time? But in any event, we're probably just going to want to go back to the hashtag first div so that it just has a border around here. Now the other thing that happens is that there are margins, right? Margins are the space that use to generate spaces around elements, right? So if you have an element here within an HTML, there are 70 pixels between here and here, right? So I'm creating kind of some space around my element where nobody's kind of touching it, right? Or where nothing else can touch it. So I can create top margins, I can create bottom margins, left margins, right margins, and I can do lots of different things with these margins. And usually margins are used in conjunction with other things like borders and with what we're going to talk about next called padding, right? Padding are the things is the space that is in between the content and the border. So a margin is between the border and other things, and a padding is between the content and the border. Right? So padding and all of these types of things are usually used in conjunction with each other because they kind of look weird if they're by themselves. So for example, if I just have this, you notice how there is like zero space between the border here and the text. So let's add some space. So we said that the space between the content and the edge is called the padding. So I just need to add some padding. So I can actually just put it right here. Padding. And I'm going to add lots of padding here. So let's add 50 pixels on one side, 30 pixels on another, 50 pixels on one side, and 80 on the other. This kind of looks weird. And in fact, I want it to be much, much less than that. I want it to be like 3 pixels, 5 pixels, and 8 pixels. Right? So now that looks a little bit better. You see that there's more space now. Between each one of these, between the border and these other things here. I can actually add some margins to this too. So margin, I can add a very similar one on the outside so that it looks nice and symmetrical, right? So now I have some padding from this side over to this side. You know, this border is now removed a little bit from the edge of the page. You use border and padding and margins on various objects. You can use them on IDs or you can use them with classes, as I talked about before. So for example, down here with these TDs, down here you see how everything is super close. So let me say I want to make a TD style, because remember these are TDs right here. Like these individual boxes are TDs, and I want to add some padding to them, right? I'm going to take this padding and I'm going to add, see how it like spread it out just a little bit more here? In fact, I'm just going to add 5 pixels on each side to make it like pretty much boxy, right? So now there's a little bit more. In fact, I would probably want even a little bit more. Let's put 10 pixels on each side. There we go. Now we're getting it to the point where you can like read it a little bit better. It's a little bit more spread out, and I'm noticing that that's not happening up here with these top rows. So let me go to the top row and see what's wrong. Oh, here's the top row, like TR, and then I forgot the THs, so I can just add a comma here, TD, and add TH to it. Now it looks a little bit better, right? So we got place, favorite thing, grade, photo, and now there's like a little bit more space in my table here, just because I added some padding. In fact, I can add even a little bit more padding to make like the table a little bit bigger, make it a little bit more comfortable. Now there we go. See, now it's even easier to read. It's not so scrunched down. So again, let me take this out just so you can see the difference. See, like all this is super scrunched up. But if I put the padding in the TDs and the THs here of 20 pixels, man, it looks like quite a bit nicer now. Right? And so this is how you work with padding. What I encourage you to do is to go through things like the CSS padding, the margins, and the borders on W3 Schools to see lots of really good examples of how to do padding. You can do you can specify like if you want the top to do a specific thing more than the bottom. So like you want the bottom style to be dotted while you want the right side to be solid, just like this up here. And so you can see you can make like little handlebar boxes type things with dotted lines on the top and the bottom. And so W3 School has lots of cool examples. What I would really suggest that you do is go in and play around with a couple of these examples, figure out how you want to do. You can even do other things like the border radius is 5 pixels. You can do super round borders, so check this out. So instead of having like a super boxy one right here, let's go up to our div. So our first div, I can actually put some border radius on it and check it out. In fact, I can move from 5 pixels to 10 pixels. And now it's becoming more and more round around the edges. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with borders. You're going to have to look at W3 Schools and any other resources online to check that out.